Hey guys, Erika and Brian here, your True Swing coaches, back to talk to you about downswing phases of your true swing. There's a lot of confusion on how do I shift my weight, when do I turn my body, what's the right sequence and order of events, and
no question.
How am I going to get power and consistency doing this? So we're going to take you through some of these phases, or basically steps in your downswing, how we see them playing out in some of our favorite concepts and drills. So first things first, when we talk about transitioning from the top of the backswing, which we left you guys off in that last video with the heave and the tipping point, next up here, that club is just basically fallen over. That weight is coming down. Our body's loaded up here. It's time to redirect our body energy to the target. So this is what we call the fall. To me, it's the weight shift, but also it's a loading action back to the target. And one thing you have to understand about the fall is it's not rotational.
Right.
Yet. It's a lateral motion. So I'm just going to place this club on my shoulders, Brian, and then when I turn back, right? If I was to make a little bit of a fall into your hand right there, as if there was like a wall right there, you can see I'm not turning towards him. I'm just pressing into that lead side. And to me, I feel tremendous pressure on the ball of my lead foot, starting to feel that heel drop. And now I'm loaded. I'm locked and loaded. I'm not lunging way forward with my head. Okay, that's not the goal. It's just pressure down into that front side, getting the mass of my body to move over a little bit. Once we've achieved that, then we can get into the rotational parts of the downswing.
Yeah, we need that pressure over there to rotate. You know, a lot of people, and this is a huge question we get asked, what do I do from the top of my swing? What am I supposed to feel?
Everybody wants to just rip their foot open and spin their hips because they've been told, lead with your hips. We want you to be patient. We need some pendulum patience, because think about it. The club goes up, it floats, it falls, and then it creates some more speed and energy down through the bottom. So if our body was replicating this and mimicking that, we would have to let the body and the club fall a little bit before it takes that more fast ride down there through impact. So let's fall before we pivot through impact. That's going to be the order of events.
Sure.
So let's show them a great step drill that we love to help with achieving a sense of this fall feel.
Sure. So when I make that good backswing that we've gone over, naturally the weight of the club and the heave is going to start to build me into that trail side. So as I get to that trail side, and I can bring my feet together so I can get that step, right? But as I get that way to the trail side to initiate this fall, I'm going to give me a little step, and that's going to load that foot. And what's really important is paying attention to when. And you did a great job right there of showcasing this. And you can see this energized pendulum. Look how it moves forward before it starts to swing, just like we're talking about here. So again, this drill got this nice heave up to the top, tipping point, step, and hit.
Yeah, and he's moving his foot over really as he's finishing his backswing, arguably. The timing of the fall is very much blended with the top of the backswing and that tipping point. As the club is tipping over, our body's arguably tipping over and falling too. So that step can't happen too soon, as long as you're willing and able to let the club finish swinging back. So we would encourage you to try this step drill and play with the timing of when you feel the step. Don't wait till your backswing is completely done and then take the step. I would say that you almost want to get ahead of it a little bit. One analogy I love is just this concept of throwing a ball. Think about in other sports, right? Throwing a ball. We wind up, we go to our back leg. Here's our heave, our tipping point, arguably, but I'm going to be stepping forward way ahead of even when my arm probably reaches maximum extension back here. That load. So there's sort of this tug of war between going back and forward at the same time. In your golf swing, we can replicate that with our backswing too. As the club is finding its way to the top, almost stretching left and starting to change direction with our body ahead of where our arm in the club is in space.
Sure. And what we see a lot is people get up to the top in that tipping point and these go together, right? And then sequence is gone. All those things we want and speed are gone. And when we get into the arm swinging, for me to be able to get my arms to swing through, you're going to see this start to move that way, right? Ahead of that, as Erika said, I love the baseball concept. It's, golf's just a little different because there's a back and through, right? But 100% that foot lands, and people, you can recognize that. Same thing, a baseball batter steps first, right? So
way
these are
before their arms come
way
through.
Before. So again, a simple thing that a lot of people know and how to feel. what we have to do is show you, you have to feel how to blend that in. So step drill I love, great way to start feeling that, create that momentum, find out when that foot lands. It probably needs to be earlier than you feel or try, but let's get that nice step first, that nice fall. And now that's going to give me the ability to start to then create rotation.
Get into that fall position one more time. So boom, right there. His shirt buttons are still facing this way. As you might hear setting golf instruction, his back is still facing the target, which would be over there. So back is still to the target. It's almost like his lead hip or butt cheek here is still facing the target. He hasn't opened up yet. If we now start talking about what happens next, now it's appropriate to start adding rotation from the ground up. You can see that left hip clear, his chest is following, and that delivers his arms directly in front of his shirt buttons once again towards the target. He doesn't have to do a ton of flipping or pulling or casting. The actual act of opening up the body once we're on top of that front leg gets our arms and the club to release through. So let's focus a little bit more on pivot. So let's do our little step drill, but now we're going to add one more piece to the puzzle here.
Sure. So I've got my, again, top of the backswing. I can start to feel this little step and my heel's up now, right?
Heel's not on the ground yet.
Right. So here, let me do it this way. I've got this, my little step, and you can see how I'm able to do that. My body stays back.
Yep. Pressure is right here, right?
Right. You got it. That's poising me ready to then push and get this hip to rotate as everything comes through.
When the heel drops, look at what happens to his leg, right? He's stepping, ball of the foot, now heel drops, leg extends, hip goes back. So the action of what your feet are really doing when you're pushing inspires a lot of this rotation, which is a big deal. So when you're standing there flat-footed, not using your feet, of course it's going to be all arms, but you're not really inspiring any rotation to happen from your lower body. So guess what's going to try to rotate? Either your chest or your arms and hands. You get all this over-the-top nonsense that is very inefficient, very choppy, and not a swing.
Right.
So we want to unwind the body. That creates this catapult-like effect that really naturally swings and throws your arms through.
That feels good, right? And one thing I like to do with this drill too, to really encourage rotation and make it easier for the golfer who's maybe never done it, is as I take that step, right, I'm gonna feel that foot, right, as I get it there, start to stagger a little bit, right? So I get the step, now I can really start to feel that and overdo that rotation. But again, look at the separation I'm creating in my body as I do that. So step, and then I'm gonna plant that heel and start to create that rotation.
Now these are drills that can be done without a golf ball at home. We're obviously telling you to take a bit of almost like an open stance to feel a little bit more exaggeration of that hip clearing. In reality, you could set up with a little open stance. You might work the ball a little left to right. If you do that, it's not a bad thing to hit a fade. So you could play with when you step down on that front foot where you feel it. If you were to step and close your stance, so if this is the target line and I was to step closed, well, then it's going to be a lot harder to rotate around this hip. So we like the idea of being somewhere between square and, if you want to exaggerate, just a little bit open of that target line so it's easier for you to create clearance into that left side. A lot of people have tight hips, tight hamstrings, ankle problems. So let's not make this any harder than it has to be. An open stance is easier to navigate a good, strong pivot than from a closed stance.
Yeah, and
what stays closed is your chest.
Exactly. So that's why we're not, exactly. And that, if I do this right, I'm not swinging this way, right? My hips are just opening as we do this drill. So as I do this, if I do it right, even if I step back and my hips rotate, right, I'm still going to get that momentum to go through that side. So a lot of you, if you haven't, weight shift, rotation, these are terms that we hear all the time, but understanding how to do it, I've got to get my weight on that lead side to be, and my pressure to be able to use it. That's what allows me to push back, which creates that rotation. So a couple good ones.
If you really had a golf ball on the ground, which we're not in a position here to hit right now, but what would you recommend in terms of, okay, ball's really here, I want to hit some balls this way and work on my pivot. How would you actually set your feet? Would it be square? Would it be maybe a little bit like this? How wide? Just let's go through the details of if you actually had a golf ball,
ball strike
to hit it. How would you do this drill?
Yeah. So first thing I like is to tee it up. That gives us an opportunity to be a little more focused on what our intention is. Gives us a little more freedom to feel this versus focusing on trying to take it off the ground, right? So again, with this, we're gonna be able to initiate. I want a little step. So my feet are close together, right? I've got a ball on the tee. My feet, I'm setting up just like I would. I'm just, again, my feet are close together. What Erika said right there, we're gonna just stagger this slightly. We're gonna make that backswing, and now it's step and go. So I can strike a ball like that, right? Here's my normal setup, get a little stagger, right? Up to the top, step, hit. So free that up, and I paused it, on the way through to be able to do that, right? So get that foot up. You can really start to see what our next phase, which is a byproduct of those items, is what finally happens. And again, a huge word we hear thrown around all the time, release.
Exactly.
Release.
One more drill. If you're struggling to understand this movement, we've got a simple exercise you can do at home, holding onto a back of a chair or maybe kitchen counter, or just use your golf club and prop it up in front of you and take a golf posture so your chest is a bit down. And once you're here, we want you to practice twisting your hips right and left, just isolating that one movement. Avoid going side to side. We're not looking for sway. We want the twisting action. And then particularly on that lead side, twist and push a little bit more to that lead side, creating a really long line and stretch all through your hamstring and your hip here. If you do that correctly, you'll feel a short trail side, or my right side's very crunched and short, and a long stretch through the left side because I'm pushing and turning.
Right.
That will prime the movement for the drills that we were just talking about, which is Brian's, step and stomp drill there on the lead side. That helps you achieve a really powerful pivot. But if you need help understanding how to twist your hips, just do that first and then come back to the actual ball striking drill.
Absolutely. We always say, your swing is only good as your perception. And if we can't do rotation in a setting that's training, right, we got to learn how to do that. So one thing we're doing too that is this club is staying still, right? A lot of times when we start to see this, we see this start to move. So we're keeping that in front. What Erika's really doing well too is when you can see this is that initial phase, which allows me to my belt buckle get over the inside of my foot, and it's rotating. So I love that position, that extension through there, that nice big stretch, air under the trail heel. That's going to really get you in a good place to be able to start to feel where we want to take that rotation and how.
Exactly. Well, this concludes our little tutorial of the downswing phases of the swing. I think that if you can follow along with understanding a bit more about the fall and the pivot, try some of these drills and concepts, what it's going to do is produce a sense of not only speed, but a free release through impact will be naturally inspired. That is that outward swinging of the club face squaring up and swinging past your body down the target line. That's a product of doing a really good fall and pivot.
Yep.
So more on that another time. So stay tuned for some more videos. But for now, we're signing off from True Swing. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Keep it free.
If that golf tip helped you feel even a little more natural in your swing, hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more to share. And if you want to take the next step, download our free gift linked below. You'll love what's inside. See you in the next video.